Merry meet. We are in the apothecary here, this Litha or midsummer here in the Southern Hemisphere. And I thought I'd do a quick share on something I really love, two creases. I did a vlog on it ages ago. However, I feel like I needed to do a re-recording because it's like 6 years ago or something like that. And when I did the recording, it's more based on the processing of, opposed to what I do after the processing of. So anyways, without further ado, we are talking about something from the citrus family, and that is oranges. I just love orange peels. And now I'm gonna sneeze because I just took a big whiff. The smell of orange peels or oranges, it just makes me happy. And I think citrus in midsummer or summer, Botana, or through the midsummer solstice tide, it doesn't just happen on one day. It also continues in its build up, right, and also decline after the peak, which is the solstice. So anyway, orange peels. So I love oranges, obviously. So this kind of slight digression, but when you do, I've still got dirt up my nails. Good gods. It's soil. So sorry. I did scrub my hands, but I still got dirt in there. I can't get the dirt out from under. My nails are short. I'm not a oh, look at my nails kind of person. The dirt doesn't come out unless I soak in the tub, and I haven't soaked in the tub yet. It's been a long day. So anyway, back to oranges. One of the things I love about orange peels is actually making a potpourri. Another thing I like to do, which I probably should do now because I haven't done that, is I make a potpourri out of the orange peels and put it next to my bedside table, and I can just smell oranges when I wake up. Sometimes when you do potpourri blends, if you have cats and they're on heat or something, and they can't pee on them, little shites. But as you know, cats aren't a big fan of oranges or the citrus smell, so they're less inclined to do that if you put that there. And that also goes without saying, if you've got some really annoying male tomcat spraying your doors and shit like that, putting orange peel. Now my cat, talking of cats. Yes, Shah, I'm over here. Putting this in the gaps of your door releases a bit of a citrus scent, and it kind of deters them as well too. So scattering, Shah, come over here, stop yelling. Scattering orange peels, dried orange peels around your garden beds too is also a really cool deterrent. Citrusy smelling herbs as well, so lemon thyme and things like that also deter cats from spraying in your garden. I don't like people leaving their cats out. I don't leave my cat out. I've had her for 25 years. Domestic cats have been bred to basically be indoors. It doesn't hurt them. I mean, my cat's 25 years old, okay, and she's always inside. As long as they've got sunlight, like a room with windows, which allows them to have sunlight so they can sunbake, and absorb the sun and get the vitamin D, that sort of thing. They're fine. Cats pretty much sleep all day. I mean, they were brought inside basically to kill the rodents to stop the rodents from eating the stored grain inside pyramids. Okay, so that, because unfortunately too, it doesn't matter how nice your cat is, they do cause a lot of damage to the other critters in the environment, and they have a really devastating impact. And I don't care how beautiful, how nice your cat is, all cats do this. They're killers, that's just what they are. My cat, I love her to creases. I know that if I let her, and a lot of times they kill just for the fun of it. It's in their nature. Okay, so let's play with that to death. They'll do that. So it's not fair. So we've got a big problem here in Australia too with feral cats. Just, you know, devastating some really delicate numbers of certain critters, you know, even genus of a critter that are getting wiped out. You know, it's bad enough they've got to compete for home, but then they've also got, you know, a predator that's not really from that part there doing their thing. So, you know, and also you'd get shitty if people left their dogs out to roam. Could you imagine? Dogs just walking into your backyard and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, anyway, digressing there. So back to orange pills. Shalamoos, what are you doing? What are you doing? So every year, another thing I like to do, you're not really helping Miss Fox. Loves you, but you're not really helping little schmuggums me. You're very talkative, aren't you? You ramble just like Mama. So something I like to do, I don't know why I haven't done this before or sooner. I usually would thread this with yarn, acrylic yarn. I'm like, dude, why don't you just thread this on cotton? So now I'm using pure cotton. Why? Because the thing I like to do with these garlands, so this is my garland from last year. See, it's lost a lot of colouring. So basically I cut up the orange peels that I have eaten, the oranges I've eaten. I keep the orange peels, and then I hang basically these as garlands or even as a mobile like that, and they just spin around in the wind. And I love the smell that they give off, like for ages. Like it really does last a long time. And then basically the following year, so every summer I do this, and then the following year I basically throw these dried peels into the cauldron or the fire pit and release them back to the earth, sort of thing. And also to make that easier, what I like to do is I basically rip them off the string and throw them into the fire. But what I might do this year is I'm just going to take them off the string beforehand and go out with a cauldron or a bucket of peels, so they're already off the string. I don't put the acrylic string into the fire. But now that I'm doing cotton, next year when I do this again, all I'm going to do is basically snip the peels off the actual string, and I can burn the string in the fire along with the peels. So it'll almost act like a candle wick. So anyway, my nose is gone. I was sneezing before. I took a big whiff of the oranges and my nose wasn't used to it. It was, going from one scent to the next. So the other thing I like to do with oranges too is I like to make lanterns. I love the smell of the orange when you put a tea light candle inside a hollow orange, a bit like you do with the pumpkins at Samhain. So I like to do the same thing with the oranges as well, or even just to have an open top and to use the hollowed out orange as a candle holder with no cap or top. Shalimar Fox, do you mind? I'm recording. What's the matter? Yeah, you're just interrupting because I'm talking on the vlog. I know you. So anyway, so tonight I'm going to basically pull apart this garland from last year, and I've got a cauldron pot, a light one, that I'm going to be chucking them all in. So not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I'm going to do a fire burning, and I'll be burning quite a few herbs and bits and pieces, plants in that. So I'm going to get this garland ready for that. I also need to finish threading this garland. And then also I've got these peels here. I want to, so these are peels that I've stored. These peels here, instead of storing them, I'm going to make something straight away. So I want to do a potpourri in the least. I also want to do a eye mask pillow for midsummer as well. So I'll be doing that as well. And I might even do an incense or a resin. I don't know. We'll see how I go with time. I always want to do a whole lot more than I have the time to do. Sorry, more than I have the time to actually get them done. Wow, it's late. So yeah, I want to get. We're about a week in. Sorry, we're about 3 weeks out from the beginning of autumn's the time of the humid. So it's still warm at the beginning of autumn, but then you have the added deluge. So autumn is synonymous with rain and the wet, not just the falling leaves. So the falling leaves don't really happen until fall or the autumnal equinox or Mabon when it comes to the northern or southern hemisphere in general, and you do have variances and nuances depending on geographical location and topography, and also what plants and that you already have there. So the ecosystem, it can degrade, it can improve, it can stay the same depending on human terraforming or involvement or impact within where they are. So basically I have about 3 more weeks left in midsummer, and I probably will end up, I don't have an orange tree, it's on my list. I don't have the finances to get one right now. But I'll probably have 2 or 3 more 3-kilo bags of oranges that I'll get through in this time. I'd like to buy my food seasonally and prep seasonally. I don't believe you should be able to buy apples all year round. It's just not how nature does it for a reason. You can't overtax or overuse one resource all year round when naturally it's not meant to be like that. I think it's one of those things that people have gotten to the habit of, is living outside of the normal ebbs and flows of what nature does, of when things are available. It's one of the big downfalls of globalism is you get anything, anytime, anywhere. And in a way it's kind of spoiled people, and it's got them a little bit lazy in otherwise times they would have prepped and stored when the things were available in season, so then they would have them when it's not in season, but they would have done the work for it. They wouldn't have just been able to order it from somewhere else or to get it from another country and that sort of thing. And it really has come back to bite us in the arse big time. Side digression, I know. So I have probably another 3-kilo bags of oranges I'll be getting through. In the next orange batch, I will be dehydrating more peels for storage, personal use, and also dehydrating the other batch for the same thing. But what I will do is grind the peels to a powder. So I'll have the peels, the peel powder, and then in the final bag I will do some orange slices. So I'll be doing some candied oranges and orange slices to hang as a glass window mobile sort of thing. And when I do the next fire burning, because when you do dried slices, they do tend to get moldy over time, because there's more moisture in them. Like, you really do have to dehydrate them well, but they can, get moldy, as opposed to just doing dried peels only. So I will most likely, I will end up doing a fire burning at Loo, and I'll be burning those window slices, dehydrated window slices. I'll be putting them into the burn or into the fire pit. So then I will have enough orange peel powder to last me for the next year, until next Bealtaine or midsummer hits, and I do the same thing again to top up my supplies. And that's how we used to do things as Europeans. I can't speak for anyone else, but that's what we used to do. Otherwise, we did not survive the winters. And the winters came every year. And the lack and the death of the land happens every year. It's a constant. It's not past. It's just what we did in the past. So it happens every year. So, and we didn't have central heating or anything like that. So we quite literally would not survive the winter if we didn't have as much prepared as we could. And anyway, bit of a ramble and digression here and there with orange peel, but I feel like I've adequately covered what I need to cover. Oh yeah, and so also in dehydrating, I do have a bit of a method I like to do now. So at the moment, what I tend to do when it comes to dehydrating is I like to kind of lightly toast my orange peels. So I will have the orange peels in the oven on the absolute lowest heat just for an hour. I don't have a fan forced oven, my oven, but it works really well. Not like the last place. The oven was so shit. Like you put it on the highest heat and it was hardly cook. And then the fan went, and the landlord wouldn't fix the fan. But this one, yeah, the fan doesn't work, so you need to increase the heat, the temperature of the oven. But then you also got to be careful you're not burning. So I like to lightly toast for an hour on a cookie sheet with a baking sheet underneath, so nothing falls through the cracks. Nothing worse than having to, grab orange peels in the oven still hot for an hour. And then I like to allow that to cool down, and then I put them in the dehydrator for 24 hours so they're really dry. And then I'll let them air out for another 24 hours, completely cool down. And then I process them, jar them, store them, etc., etc. So I thought I'd share that. That's what I do to dehydrate. There's many ways of doing it. Everyone's different. You might be doing one way and then try something different. Oh, I like that better. Or it's still shit house, and you might do two methods or make one completely different. Drying in the heat of summer when it's like sweltering outside is also another idea. Or if you've got a solar oven, something I want to build is a solar oven. I know it's getting late now. We've only got a few weeks left of midsummer before we're into the autumnal equinox down here. Oh, sorry, the autumnal tide, not the equinox. But when I get it done, at least I'll have it there waiting for next year. Yeah, and there's still going to be some warm days in Loo. Just means that we have the deluge as well of Loo, or autumn. Anyway, so that's it from me. I hope that's given you a few little ideas. I will add a link to a post I did quite a few years back, where I had taken pictures of my process of dehydrating the orange peels, and a little slight write-up on a tiny write-up on oranges overall, what I use in energy uses purpose. Obviously not everything there, but gives an overall snapshot of my use anyway, energy-wise, when it comes to craft. Anyway, that's it from me. Blessed be Mary Pat. I'm going to finish threading up this garland and getting these old garland peels ready for the fire burning in a couple of days. and I'm going to make a fresh batch of potpourri for sipping and mirror pouch.